Let's celebrate the magic of short stories and poems. They are truly magical, aren't they? They make us feel happiness, heartbreak, horror, hope, hatred, and so much more. Namaste people. Welcome to Shweta's Basket, a weekly stories and poems podcast, and I'm your host, Shweta Singh. So last Friday, we were halfway through our story, Hand in Hand into the Sunset by Narayani v. Manapadam. And it's part of an anthology titled #Love from One Heart to Another, published by The Hive. Let me recap the story for you. Our story is set in Calcutta. We have an elderly couple, the Krishnamurtis, trying to get by in life. Out of respect, they are referred to as Mama and Mami. Mama is about to retire in a few months' time. We know they had a son who passed away in a freak accident just hours after he received an offer letter from Remington, manufacturers of typewriters. They have a neighbor, Sabitri Di, and she gets on Mami's nerves sometimes. But that's okay. We all have neighbors like that, who get on our nerves occasionally. Mama is ready to go to the office, and he has just asked Mami if the idlis are ready for breakfast. And this is how she replies, and our story continues. She frowned at him. Of course, I am just a mere servant. No, a cook for you and that Sabitri. All you do is stuff yourself with idli, dosa and vada. Next time bring your other girlfriends too. Why should I not serve them? Invite that clerk in your office. The one who wears a sleeveless blouse. What's her name? Whatever. With that, putting P.T. Usha to shame, she sprinted towards the kitchen and appeared with a stainless steel plate with 4 idlis and a small bowl containing coconut chutney, tempered with mustard seeds and fragrant curry leaves. And life trudged on until Mrs. Indira Gandhi got assassinated. It was Krishnamurti Mama's last day at the bank. He left no stone unturned to look his best. The musky aroma of Old Spice wafted into the room and mingled with the cheap scent he had purchased from Park Street specially for this occasion. He sprayed on the scent in liberal doses over his starched white shirt. Ayyo, I can't bear it anymore. I am already getting a headache. Mami screwed her nose in utter disgust at what she perceived to be a gross show of style. Pankajam, today is the last day of my retirement. There will be a farewell speech from my colleagues, he explained. You will also thank them with your mouth, no? Why this scent? Who's going to smell you? Mama shrugged his shoulders, ignoring her logic. I should leave in style, right? Oh yes, style. As if you are Shivaji Ganesan, and people will go, ah, and ooh, on seeing you. Look at yourself in the mirror first. He said nothing and slipped his feet into a pair of black shoes. He had spent a good part of the morning polishing them with cherry blossom. He was satisfied only when he saw his reflection on the leather. Okay, Pankajam, see you at 6. I might have snacks in the bank. Murmuring a take care as he disappeared out of sight, Mami closed the door and sighed. She looked around the house with a sense of resignation and thought, only the two of us, driving each other mad. Take me away, oh Shiva. But then other priorities took over. She had to prepare rasam for lunch and roast some potatoes. It has been a long time since I have made upma. He likes it so much, she thought. And thus, dinner was also sorted. After lunch, Mami began to wash the utensils. The maid had taken leave, yet again. I am too soft with these idiots. Why can't I be Sabitri? One glare from her and they will do extra work for free, she mumbled. Amidst the rants, no one else would hear, the woman in question called out. "Coming!" Mami yelled in reply. She wiped her hands on the sari and limped towards the window. Of late, the arthritis was getting worse. "What happened, Didi?" Mami asked. "Pankajam, I just got news from Billu. Mrs. Gandhi is dead." "Ayyo! What happened? How?" "Billu said she was shot by her own bodyguards. Can you imagine?" "Poor soul," Mami uttered. "At what time is Krishna expected?" Sabitri Di asked. "He will be late today, Didi. He is retiring," replied Mami. "I know that. I just hope he comes back soon. Billu told me trouble might flare up in the city. Public transport might come to a standstill." Mami gasped. "What are you saying, Didi?" "Arre, Pankajam, don't worry. Everything will be alright. Krishna is not a child," said Sabitri, trying to reassure Mami. With ominous thoughts hovering in her mind, Mami closed the window. She paced the room like a tigress caged in an enclosure. As the throbbing ache in her knees made it impossible to walk without wincing, Mami sat on a reclining chair. The rocking motion, however, seemed to worsen her apprehensions. She got up, went to the kitchen, and drank a glass of water. On an impulse, she went to the main door and opened it. The street was eerily silent. Not a soul was to be seen. Her heartbeat quickened as she shut the door. When dusk fell, she lit up the lamp and 2 incense sticks in front of Goddess Lakshmi. The clock chimed 6. "He should be here at any moment," she thought. Mami dashed to the main door, her arthritis forgotten. The brown street dog lay curled up on the doorstep. It raised its head, bracing itself for her shoe. But on that evening, she shut the door, failing to register the sight of the stinking stray. The clock struck 7. Tears welled up in Mami's eyes. "Oh Shiva, you have taken away my son, not my husband too, please," she pleaded. Another agonizing hour passed as she sat and walked, unable to do either for long. "Should I call Billu? But where can we go? What can we do? I hope he is safe." A sudden knock on the door startled her. Ignoring the pain shooting through her knees, Mami ran towards the door and opened it. With one look at the sight in front of her, she burst out crying. A visibly tired Mama, panting and huffing, stood outside. His shirt was creased and dust had settled on his shoes. Looking at Mami, he raised his hand to assure her that he was fine and took off his shoes. He took slow steps to reach the living room and sank into a chair. "Water!" The words were a hoarse whisper. Mami rushed to the kitchen and came back with a glass. He gulped its entire contents in one go. "Do you want another glass?" she asked. He nodded, weariness evident in his worn-out features. Mami returned with a jug full of water. Mama snatched it from her hands and drank it greedily, as if a thirsty traveler had come across an oasis in the desert. He looked at her and shook his head in pain. "What terrible day! I got the news from Sabitri. But what happened? Did any ruckus happen?" asked Mami. "When the news reached the bank, the manager asked us to go home. Poor friends, they were looking forward to cups of tea and snacks. The clerk had even drafted a farewell speech. What to do? Anyway, I said goodbye and came out. Not a bus in sight. I walked towards the tram depot. No luck. Desperate, I decided to take a taxi. My bad luck. Every one of the drivers refused. Can't blame them. Most of them are Sardars. He sighed and continued. He had to tell her about the trouble he went through to reach home. Maybe they were scared that they would be targeted. Who knows? So I started walking. I had no other option. Who would have thought that one day I will walk all the way from Esplanade to Janak Road? Ayyo, Shiva. Anyway, I'm glad you are back. Mami wiped her tears with the end of her sari. Don't worry, Pankajam. I will live long, Mama said, trying to reassure Mami. May that happen. I cannot even think of a life without you, she replied. The Almighty will see to it. Mama looked up and added, I will take you to Darjeeling and then Shanti Niketan. But promise me one thing. God promise, Mami declared, without even listening to the condition. Guess she already knew what it would be. Love wasn't always expressed the same way. During their years together, she had felt his love surround her more often than not. You will wear the parrot green Mysore silk sari I gave you on our first anniversary? You look lovely in it. Mami blushed. Mama continued, feeling better and even happier. We will enjoy the rest of our days. I will take you out and buy you ice cream, as many as you want. Mami sat down beside him and smiled. But only strawberry flavor, okay? I don't like vanilla. He took her hand and patted it, caressing the wrinkles that had replaced her once smooth skin. The gesture was all they needed. Not a word more was exchanged between them. Only their eyes witnessed the deep love they had for each other. This is such a sweet story, isn't it? That it left me feeling all gooey and mushy. And I'm sure you'll agree. This is not a story of hot and passionate love, but love of a life spent together. Mama and Mami were so comfortable in each other's company, weren't they? Theirs is a love that runs deep and needs no extravagant overtures of love. The kind of love couples can aspire to, right? Actually, let me rephrase that. The kind of love older couples can aspire to. Let the young have their hot, passionate love. Which brings me to the point that this book, #love, is a concoction of different kind of love stories, From words etched on palm leaves to swiping touch screens. These tales examine love across the ages. You will find joy, sorrow, elation, depression, faith, hope, despair, longing, lust, and loss. A gamut of emotions cascading through these 20 stories that are bound to engulf your heart and soul. #love is the first book from the Hive's stable to come out in both the ebook and the paperback formats. So do check out this book. It is available on Amazon and the link to it will be in the show notes. And before I conclude today's episode, let me tell you a little about the Hive as well. Their philosophy is very similar to Shweta's basket. As a bunch of writers, they wondered if the art of great short storytelling would die under the weight of 500-page novels. They also realized that there is a dearth of good anthologies. So, for the love of storytelling, they co-created The Hive, a non-traditional publishing collective. They are focused on publishing themed short story anthologies and never charge a penny for submissions. They have released 4 anthologies till now: Route 13, Highway to Hell, Blood Runs Cold, Tea with a Drop of Honey, and #love. Do check out their FB page The link will be in the show notes. At Shweta's Basket, we too want to revive the love for short stories, especially by contemporary writers. Hopefully, more and more publishers will agree to share their stories here so that listeners get a glimpse of the marvelous worlds the writers create and narrators bring to life. And now we move on to the one question section. In the last episode, I had asked you, in which city does our story take place? The right answer is Calcutta. And the very first email with the right answer was sent by Sheetal Ashpalia from Pune. Thank you, Sheetal. You happen to be the very first person who has sent in the answer to the very first episode of the second season of Shweta's Basket. So thank you very much for that. And now we move on to the one question for this episode. The question is, who informed Mami that Mrs. Gandhi was dead? You can email your answers to shweta@shwetasbasket.com and you will find the email ID in the show notes as well. We will announce the name of the first person who sends us the right answer in the next episode. And do join me next Friday when I bring a beautiful, poetic prose about love, full of longing and anguish at not being expressed, and yet laden with hope. And guys, with that, we come to the end of this episode. Do subscribe to my website, www.shwetasbasket.com, so that you're always up to date with what's new in the basket. And stories and poems are not the only things. You will find book, movie, and restaurant reviews in there too. And if you enjoyed this episode, then please follow or like the podcast, share our episode on your timeline, and tag us. And do recommend us to your friends. Help us reach more people. Shweta's Basket is available on 18 different platforms like Spotify, Apple and Google Podcast, Gaana, JioSaavn, and others. We're also on YouTube. For the complete list, check out the show notes. And if you want to get in touch with me, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. My handle is Shweta's Basket. And guys, in this day and age, it is a good idea to have a website. So if you're thinking of one, then listen on, because having a good-looking and professional website is just a click away. In the meantime, this is your host, Shweta Singh, signing off. Till we meet again on the air next Friday. Bye for now. Do you want to have a website of your own? Are you a writer, photographer, actor, makeup artist, hairstylist, or even a tutor, singer, painter, journalist, consultant? Or do you have your own cafe, restaurant, resort, holiday home, shop, small business, hospital, or even a blog, WordPress, or Blogspot account that you want to migrate to a good-looking website? Well, look no further. The geeks will help you, and you will find them in the Geeks Room at our Tunes In. Just click on the link in the episode description. Yes, it's that simple to have a website. My website is hosted and managed by them. And want to know what I love about them? They are professional, customer pleasers, straight talkers, and very competently priced. So what are you waiting for? Your website is just a click away.